And who refuses to follow the script.
We have rules here, you know that. And if you don't follow the rules, then what are we?
One man stands tall in the face of adversity.
But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward.
A man who rises above the ashes of hot takes.
What do you care what they say?
Easy for you to say they will love you.
It's just noise, man. You're really good at it. You might be great.
That man is Nick Kostos. And this is You Better You Bet.
If loving sports is wrong, I don't want to be right.
Where narratives are challenged and the truth is spoken.
I told you what was going to happen last week. If you didn't listen, that's on you.
This isn't talk. It's perspective.
It's not what you look at that matters. It's what you see.
This is You Better You Bet, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
What's up, everybody? Happy and merry, magnificent Sports Monday to you and yours. This is You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos on Westwood One Sports, as we bring you the fastest show in all of sports. The show presented today and always by BetMGM. Make it legendary by downloading the BetMGM app and visiting BetMGM.com. And on this Monday morning, the whiff of championships in the air. And we will get to all the big stories, including the Stanley Cup playoffs are over and the Carolina Hurricanes are world champions. We will credit Rod Brindamore and we will credit this Carolina Hurricanes organization next hour on the show. Also, the World Cup is underway. Did you watch the United States take it to Paraguay on Friday night? I'm watching that game. I've been watching the United States. I remember United States in the 1990 World Cup. But hell, I've been watching religiously since 1994. And I can never remember the United States men's national team playing as well as it did on Friday night. We will talk about that and the rest of the comings and goings at the World Cup as we move along. All our bets for today and for tonight in the final hour, the power hour of the show. The phone number, 310-840-4910. We are on YouTube, youtube.com/@thekostos, and you can find me, Nick Kostos, on all social media platforms at the Kostos, TheKostos. But we officially start the magnificent Sports Monday edition of You Better You Bet, Kenny Henderson, with this.
Wemby tries a three, puts it up, off the mark, Anunoby the rebound. It's over! It's over! Knick fans, this is not a dream. Your long, long wait has ended. Go ahead and cry. After 53 years, the Knicks are finally NBA champions once again.
The New York Knicks. My New York Knicks. World champions. The great Mike Breen on the call Saturday night on ABC and ESPN. Surreal. Never thought it would happen. Even though I think sports fans can understand what I'm about to say. I thought when the Spurs beat the Thunder in Game 7 of the Western Conference Final, I thought the Knicks were going to win the championship. I said so on the show prior to the NBA Finals starting. I liked the Knicks. Obviously, when they won Game 4 in the fashion they wanted to go up 3-1, I felt like the Knicks were going to win the championship. I thought the Knicks were going to win Game 5. I bet the Knicks to win Game 5. I thought it was going to happen. And even though I thought it was going to happen, I also never thought it would happen. And sports fans are funny like that, right? Conditioned to believe that something is never going to happen. And you are utterly convinced that it's never going to happen. So until the clocks hit 0 and it's actually over and you can actually say, we are champions, it is really, really tough and almost impossible to believe. And how sweet it is. How sweet it is for this lifelong fan of the New York Knicks. And I will break down everything that happened with the San Antonio Spurs. We will talk in full about Jalen Brunson's epic Game 5 and why he is New York's Michael Jordan. And I understand that's high praise, but it's true. We'll talk about the game. We'll spin it all forward. But I want to have to start with the fan perspective. This show is by huge sports fans, fronted by yours truly, obviously, for huge sports fans. You, the person that's watching, you, the person that's listening. So you love sports. You will understand what I'm about to say. Empathize with what I'm about to say. Really be simpatico with me, because you know that it's true. In life, and I met my wife a little later in life, not super late, but I met my wife when I'm in my mid to late 30s. I don't get married until I'm 40. I don't have a kid until I'm almost 41. There are times in my life, speaking personally, right? Maybe it's the same for you, maybe it's not. But you wonder at a point, am I going to find the person that I want to spend the rest of my life with? We all experience heartbreak along the way in life, an inevitable part of life. But once you meet that person, the person that you love and loves you, and things are going great and moving in that direction, it immediately renders everything that's come before it inconsequential. It doesn't matter anymore. Sports are a lot like life in that way. I've been watching the Knicks since 1990 and have experienced, from a sports perspective, as much heartbreak as you could possibly imagine. And I know that the Knicks fans are not alone. A lot of sports fans experience heartbreak, more heartbreak than the Knicks have, and I understand that. But the Knicks, over the course of the 36 years that I've been watching them, have produced their fair share of kicks to the nether region. And I think back to all of them. And as the seconds are ticking off the clock on Saturday night, I can't help but think about these things. To think about 1992. And what's funny about 1992 is if I were the age I'm at now in 1992, scary thought, life goes way too fast, I probably would have known that the Bulls were going to stuff the Knicks into a locker in that Game 7 in Chicago. But I'll tell you what, at 8 years old, almost 9 years old, I thought the Knicks were going into Chicago and beating the Bulls in that game. And of course, they got blown out. And I was absolutely devastated. 93, Charles Smith, million shots under the basket. Knicks were the 1 seed in 93, not the Bulls. Won the first 2 at the Garden, then the Bulls won the next 4. Just miserable. Stuffed in a locker again by Michael Jordan. 94, up 3-2 in the finals, going back to the Summit. Losing Game 6. Hakeem blocks John Starks at the very end of the game. Starks going for the win. And then obviously what happened in Game 7, Starks 2 for 18. Hakeem outclasses Ewing, and the Rockets win the championship, and we, the Knicks, are denied. 95, Patrick Ewing's finger roll against the Indiana Pacers in Game 7. I sobbed after that game. That, I think, is the worst loss for me as a Knicks fan. Was not even 94 Game 7 against the Rockets, 95 Game 7 against the Indiana Pacers. The suspensions against the Miami Heat. Losing to the Spurs, and we got them back, baby. Losing to the Spurs in 99. The losses to Reggie. How about the loss to the Toronto Raptors? Isaiah Thomas. Phil Jackson. All the failed draft picks. All the swing and miss trade. The golden sombrero trades. 0 for 4 strikeouts, essentially. Roy Hibbert and Carmelo Anthony. Jimmy Butler, Tyrese Halliburton, all the choking signs, all the Knicks losses. They don't matter anymore. Because the New York Knicks are world champions. I have goosebumps. Sports has this unbelievable ability to break chains, to free you of past pain, misery, and torment. All it takes is a championship. Now, obviously, in life, there are things that matter way more than sports. Obviously, right? Like, if you told me, for instance, that my daughter would be happy and healthy for the duration of her life, but none of my teams would ever win another game, I would sign up for it in blood. So there are things that matter more than sports. But outside of those things, like your family, for me at least, I'm guessing the same for you, family, friends, this is what matters the most to a lot of us. And it's what certainly matters the most to me in my life, outside of the health and happiness of my loved ones and my own personal health and happiness. And a lot of that throughout my life has had a lot to do with whether my favorite sports teams are good or bad, whether they're winning or not. So this means everything to me, and it obviously means everything to fans of the New York Knicks. And when your team wins, like the Knicks won, it fills you with, for me at least, just an extreme amount of pride to be from where I am. In my instance, to be from New York, to be from New York City. And I take an extra bit of satisfaction knowing that the worst people on the planet, when you think of true evil that walks this earth, there is no darker subset of what happens in life and in culture. There are no more evil people than the kids in New York that grew up in the 90s rooting for Michael Jordan and the Bulls instead of the Knicks. Glad you got those titles then. How do you like us now? You're not welcome back on the bandwagon. You stay there in Chicago with your loser basketball team since Michael retired. And yeah, am I still bitter about the 90s? Oh, I guess I still am. I guess some wounds will never fully heal. It's unbelievable, man. It's unreal. And this was, for me at least, as a sports fan, and I think we all have multiple teams that we root for, right? You know, I'm a Giants fan, and I'm a Yankees fan, and I'm a Knicks fan. To a lesser extent, I'm a New York Rangers fan. This was the last mountain that I needed to summit as a sports fan. And I understand that I am fantastically lucky as a sports fan, even as a New York sports fan, where this could easily, like my grandfather grew up in the Bronx, so we are Yankees fans and we are Giants fans. There are a ton, and there's nothing wrong with them, it just kind of sucks for them, right? There are New Yorkers that are Mets and Jets fans, or Islander fans who haven't seen, or too young and haven't seen any of their teams win a championship outside now of the New York Knicks. So I understand. I'm exceptionally lucky. I've now seen my favorite basketball team win a championship. I've seen my favorite football team, the Giants. I've been alive for all 4 Super Bowls, but I'm really cognizant for 3 of them. I've seen the Yankees win 5 World Series, including beating the Mets in 2000. Great stuff. I watched the Rangers win a Stanley Cup in 1994. Wish it had been the Knicks, but you know what? Again, all good, because the Knicks just got it done this weekend. And in a moment like this, it really, on a human level, puts some things in perspective. For me. And there are 2 things that I'm going to say right now that I think might surprise some people. Because yes, like there is delirium and there is ecstasy and it is a tremendously positive feeling. It feels awesome to root for a team that just won a championship. There are 2 feelings, though, I think that might surprise people. And I think sports fans of a certain age will be able to empathize with both of them. The first one is, what now as a sports fan? And that doesn't mean that I'm not in the moment enjoying this, because I am. But now I think about what's to come in the next couple of years, even like this October for the Yankees. I'm at game 1 of the Eastern Conference Final, Knicks and the Cavs, and I'm saying in my head as the Knicks start to come back in that game in the 4th quarter, I don't care what happens with any of my teams the rest of the year. Can the Knicks just win? Forget about win the finals. Can they come back and win this game? And they did. And they just won the championship for the first time in my lifetime. So, like, let's say the Yankees completely fall on their face in September and miss the playoffs. Am I supposed to be upset? As a sports fan, the Knicks just won. Am I supposed to be upset if the Giants fall on their face and go 4-13, go 5-12? Jackson Dart's not the guy. Questions about John Harbaugh. Am I supposed to be upset? How can I be upset about anything that happens now? If the Rangers suck, hell, if the Knicks suck next year, who cares? Who cares? I mean that. I can't go back on what I said. I would have traded, and just like, when the Giants beat the Patriots in Super Bowl 42, if you had told me before that game, the Giants will win this game, beat the 18-0 Patriots, but none of your teams will ever win another championship, I would have run over women and children like Costanza to sign it. So everything that's happened since then is really gravy for me, because the Giants are my favorite team. And now I'm supposed to be upset if my teams are bad? It's a little bit of a funky feeling, right? Because you get to the top of the mountain, and then you're on top, and you're looking around, and you're on top. That's it. There's nowhere else to go. And yes, they could win another championship, and it would be glorious, but we all wanted one. We all wanted this one. And yes, it's true. To quote the legendary Ric Flair, if you want to walk around this world and tell everybody that you're number one, the only way that you get to stay number one is to be number one. So yeah, Knicks don't win the championship next year, they're not going to be number one. And I don't care, because right now, we're number one. So it's an interesting wave of emotions that hits you as a sports fan in moments like this. The second thing, and I texted Bill last night, our executive producer, Bill Zimmerman, who's been doing this for as long as I have in sports media. And it's like, I have a couple bittersweet-ish feelings about this. Is it kind of lame to lead the show with it from a fan perspective? And Bill was like, no, you need to be authentic. People will understand where you're coming from. The second thing that I would say, and this is Nick Kostos, sports fan, talking to you, sports fan. And do you kind of share this experience? When the Giants won Super Bowl 42 on February 3rd, 2008, I was 24 years old. And that I think about how I felt on that run from the Giants and juxtapose it with how I felt this run with the Knicks. And at that point in my life, I'm just out of college. I've begun my career, but I'm not taking it as seriously probably at that point. I'm just trying to be really honest with everybody. Probably didn't take it as seriously as I should have at the time, and certainly not as serious as I take it now. No girlfriend, no real responsibilities. That run was the most important thing in my life. And if you had asked me at any point prior to that Super Bowl, what's the one thing you most want to happen in your life? You could have told me, hey, Jennifer Lopez wants to sleep with you. Here's $1 million. Or the Giants can beat the undefeated Patriots in the Super Bowl and beat Dallas on the way there and then win in overtime at Lambeau in the NFC Championship game to get there. I would have chosen the Giants. I'm being honest, right? You might think that's pathetic. It's my truth. That's where I was at that point in my life. Before a wife, before a kid, before, the responsibilities that come with that, with providing for a family, with being a little older. And this Knicks win, as kind of, in a warped way, made me more aware of my mortality. Because sports fandom is almost like, it's not a young man or a young woman's thing because I'm in ecstasy that the Knicks won. My heart's beating out of my chest. But you realize in these moments, it can't be the same. It can't as when you were younger. It just can't. It can't. Because there's other things going on that occupy so much space in your brain. The pie chart of you as a human being. In 2007, the Giants are like 99% of the pie chart for me. And you think that's pathetic? I got news for you. You're right. It is, to think about in retrospect. But that's the truth. So now, on this Monday morning, do I wish the Knicks had lost? So and then lose game 6 and lose game 7 so we continue the chase? Hell no. No. I needed them to win. I'm thrilled that they won. You're on cloud 9 as a human being in moments like this. You love it. But as a sports fan, you wonder, okay, now what? Does this mean now for the next 5 or 10 years? Seriously. If you're a Jets fan, if you're a Browns fan, you're a Sacramento Kings, you're the fan of you're a tortured fan. You're a Minnesota sports fan. You haven't won since beating the Braves in 91. You're a tortured sports fan. Your team wins, and you're supposed to still feel tortured after that? Guess what? I'm not tortured anymore. You go from literally the torture chamber to the penthouse. I have women basically fanning me and feeding me grapes, pouring me a glass of wine. I'm a world champion. Now what? Now what? As a sports fan. Does it mean, again, I'm not going to root like hell for the Yankees this October? Of course not. I want the Yankees to win. Root for the Giants this fall. Of course I'm going to root for the Giants. And of course I'm going to root for the Rangers, and you know damn well I'm dying for my Knicks to go back-to-back. But if none of it happens, the Yankees stink, the Giants stink, the Rangers stink, if the Knicks stink, does it really matter? I would argue it doesn't. Because the New York Knicks are world effing champions. That is the fan perspective on the Knicks winning the NBA championship. On the other side, let's talk about the game, and let's talk about the run that this team went on, and why some of you have proven to be, and I actually mean this as a compliment, generational haters. I actually think you deserve credit, not scorn. We'll get into all of it, and why Jalen Brunson is New York Michael Jordan. Next, on a Monday, You Better You Bet, Westwood One Sports, presented by BetMGM, with yours truly, world champion sports fan, Nick Kostos.
Now that you're NBA champion, what's your message for people saying that you're not a 1A guy?
I didn't respond to them then. I'm damn sure not going to respond to them now.
Now, back to You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos on Westwood One Sports.
Finals MVP, Jalen Brunson. NBA Finals Most Valuable Player, Jalen Brunson. What a time to be alive. This segment on You Better You Bet, sponsored by Progressive Commercial Insurance, protecting small businesses with affordable coverage options. Get a quote today at progressivecommercial.com, progressivecommercial.com. Does everybody appreciate and recognize the irony of that soundbite that we just played coming back from break? Jalen Brunson has just carried his team over the finish line in Game 5. 45 of 94 points. 45 points on the road in a closeout game of the NBA Finals against that team with those defenders, with Victor Wembanyama patrolling the paint. He is a world champion, Finals MVP, and what does he get asked? And I'm not criticizing the question, but what does he get asked? What do you say? And I'm paraphrasing. This is basically what the question was. What do you say to the haters? I cannot remember in all the years that I've been watching sports, a championship team, a team that has won it all, that has been hated on more than this New York Knicks team. And we collectively, all of us, and some of you, not all of you, but some of you out there, some of you should be, you know what? I was going to say embarrassed, and you should be ashamed. You should feel shame in this moment, but I actually respect you because you have taken hating to the next level. You are wearing the scarlet letter H, and the H stands for hate. Because even in this moment now, days after Brunson wins Finals MVP, days after the New York Knicks complete one of the most dominant postseason runs in the history of the NBA and in the history of sports, you still can't credit them. You still think, who did this team beat? Not an all-time team. You still say it. It's unbelievable. This is like, I have been telling you, like the sun goes down at night, and I tell you the moment that nightfall hits, the moon's in the sky like a big pizza pie, and I tell you tomorrow morning the sun's coming out, and you say, no, it's not. No, it won't. And I keep telling you, as morning approaches, as dawn draws closer, I keep telling you, sun's going to come out tomorrow or today. And you keep saying, no, it won't. Sun's not going to come out. I don't believe it. And then light starts to break through. And slowly, that big yellow ball floating in the air. The weather gets warmer and everything gets lighter. And you see the sun, and I say to you, I told you the sun was going to come out. And you say, no, it's not. It's not there. You're a Knicks hater right now. That's you. The sun came out today, and the New York Knicks are an all-time team. 16-3 run in the postseason. The third team in NBA history to achieve a mark of 16-3 or better en route to a championship. Best point differential ever in an NBA playoffs, plus 283. But yeah, you're right, didn't beat anybody. All good. Best point differential ever. Oh, but who did they play? Are you kidding? You still can't say it? Can't you admit it's a you problem? It's not a Knicks problem. It's not a Brunson problem. It's not a Hawks problem. It's not a Sixers problem. It's not a James Harden or a Kenny Atkinson or a Cleveland Cavaliers problem. It's not a Mitch Johnson or a Victor Wembanyama problem. It's a you problem. You're a hater. You hate New York. You hate the Knicks. You hate giving anyone else credit. You can't do it. And you still won't, some of you. Isn't that amazing? Isn't it amazing, Susan? Isn't it amazing? Best point differential ever. All 4 closeout wins on the road. 13-game win streak along the way. And you still won't give them credit. What the hell is wrong with you? That you can't just say it. Say it. Say this is one of the greatest runs ever. Say this is an all-time team. Say it. Not because I want to hear it. Say it because it's true. Tell the truth. Put your big boy or big girl pants on, look in the mirror, and admit what everyone knows is true deep down in their hearts and sports fan souls. That this is one of the great runs we've ever seen. Period. How about this team build? How about Leon Rose? I love Leon. Now, it's a heterosexual platonic love, but I love him. And I love Worldwide Wes. This team build is mind-blowing for the New York Knicks. How they were able to do this. And while I will say I'm not a fan of Knicks fans chanting, F CJ McCollum, it was ridiculous. The one thing that I like that Knicks fans did, and they haven't done it in a while, was trolling Kevin Durant for not signing with the Knicks. Yo, KD, I'll say this. Yo, KD, don't you wish you had signed with the Knicks? Don't you wish you had signed with the Knicks? No one wanted to sign with the Knicks. No star wanted to sign with the Knicks. Look at how they built this team. They got Brunson. And Brunson said this is why he came to New York. And to be clear, Jalen Brunson at the time he signed with the Knicks was not viewed to be even close to this level of player that he's at now. Obviously, and it was one of the biggest talking point after they won was, man, no one thought this could happen. How about crediting the guy? And look, I understand it was a very strange interview on Inside the NBA after the Knicks won with Rick Brunson and Jalen, where Rick Brunson talked the entire time. And I get it, he's the dad. Also, can we hear from the kid that just won Finals MVP instead of Rick Brunson bloviating? And I get it, Rick Brunson's trying to keep his kid humble, right? Ewing's the greatest Knick, Shaq's the greatest free agent signing. We don't need to do this. We don't have to pretend. We don't have to try and, rewrite history. Jalen Brunson is the greatest Knick ever, of my lifetime at least. And I'll say, I'm not alive in the 70s when Walt Clyde Frazier's leading the Knicks to 2 championships. So if you are of a certain age and you want to make the case it's Walt Clyde Frazier, I'm not going to disagree with you. I'm not alive during that time. What I can tell you, Jalen Brunson is indisputably the greatest Knick of my lifetime. And it's not a discredit to the great Patrick Ewing, whom I love. And your heart breaks when you see Ewing after the game celebrating that he couldn't. My heart breaks, at least. Watching Patrick Ewing celebrate the Knicks winning a championship and he couldn't get it done as a player. It sucks. And it's not to take away from Pat, just that he didn't win and Brunson did. And that's all there is to it. NBA Finals closeout game. Do you understand this? Closeout game on the road, NBA Finals against this is not James Harden, living, breathing traffic cone guarding Jalen Brunson defensively. This is the San Antonio Spurs sending waves of young wings, and here's alien 8 foot tall, and you can't teach that, Victor Wembanyama waiting. And he shredded them, and he sliced them, and he diced them, and he eviscerated them, and he obliterated them, and he led the Knicks to a championship. 45 of 94 points. On Saturday night, Jalen Brunson was 7-1-8 Michael Jordan. 2-1-2 Michael Jordan. New York City's Michael Jordan. Gotham's Michael Jordan. Knicks fans' Michael Jordan. That was Jordan-esque. It felt like a 90s NBA Finals game. 94-90 final score. And Brunson scored 45 of the 90 in a closeout game on the road. It's unbelievable. Do you understand what we witnessed? The magnitude of it? And I've been right about a lot on this run. I'll tell you something I was dead wrong on. And it was while I was being right about something, which makes me sound like I'm crediting myself. I'm just telling the truth. I wanted the Knicks to fire Tom Thibodeau and hire Mike Brown. I was right. Mike Brown led them to a championship. Tom Thibodeau, I don't think, would have been able to. One of the reasons why is because I hated the way that the offense would stagnate under Thibodeau, and it turned into too much Brunson hero ball. And what I would continually say on and off air, on this show or to my friends or my family, Jalen Brunson's a great player, and no one's going to disagree with that. I'm not going to say otherwise. I know he's a great player, but he's not Kobe Bryant. He's not Michael Jordan, where I want him shooting every shot in the clutch and dribbling the basketball, and it's just iso ball one-on-one. I was wrong, because that's what this was. And the shot that will go down in history for Brunson, the shot that will go down in history is OG Anunoby's tip-in, obviously, in Game 4. There should be a statue. I'm sure there will be a statue outside the Garden of it. It's Jalen Brunson, 6.5 minutes to play in the fourth quarter. Spurs up 83-77. And in that moment, does anyone think the Knicks are not going to win the championship? I felt like they were going to. And Brunson has the ball by the three-point line. And Wembanyama's on him. And Mike Breen brilliantly sets the stage. And he goes, Wemby on Brunson, the two stars. Victor Wembanyama, not figuratively, literally, is 1.5 feet taller than Jalen Brunson. And Brunson, using his guile and his guts and his smarts and his instinct and a little bit of physicality, bumping his back into Wemby, getting Wemby off him just a smidge to lay it in. Just the ball just escaping the pterodactyl wingspan of Victor Wembanyama. 83-79. Chef's kiss. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Put him on Mount Rushmore. New York sports athlete. Brunson, Eli, Messier, Jeter. At least in my lifetime. Greatest Knick ever. Hell yeah. Signed in free agency. Shout out to the Dallas Mavericks who had Jalen Brunson and Luka Doncic under contract, and now somehow neither plays for the team anymore. Amazing. Isn't it amazing? First round pick for Josh Hart. The cold-blooded trade for Karl Anthony Towns, and I feel terrible for Dante DiVincenzo that he couldn't be a part of this. And I love Julius Randle. What a trade for Karl Anthony Towns. An epic roll of the dice. F-Dem picks for Mikal Bridges. RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickly for OG Anunoby. Just, it's incredible. What a team build. What a win. What a run. What a championship. Jalen Brunson. New York's, 30 years after Michael Jordan tortured us. Tortured a young Nick Kostos. We have our guy. Finals MVP, Jalen Brunson. You might be caught up in 1A, his height. I don't care. You say anything you want about Jalen Brunson. You just make sure that you preface it by saying Finals MVP. On the other side, more on the Knicks, and we will delve into what went wrong for the San Antonio Spurs and why. Even if the Spurs had won Game 5, I don't think we would have seen Victor Wembanyama for the rest of the finals on this Monday on Westwood One Sports.
One of many things I learned is the margin of error is very, very thin. Our domination stints are absolute. We absolutely dominated for most of the series, but our errors, our mistakes are punished so hard that we can't have ups and downs like this so much, you know. The ups are okay, the downs, it's the reason we lost.
Now, back to You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos on Westwood One Sports.
Well, Victor Wembanyama, I would argue the reason you lost is because you're not as good as the Knicks. And if you were, you wouldn't have gotten sent home in 5, and you wouldn't have gotten dominated in clutch time in basically every game of the series. I love this. The Knicks have broken everyone's brains to an extent that everyone has to make excuses after the Knicks win. Like the Cavs, James Harden, we're the better team. Bro, you got swept. Wemby, we absolutely dominated. You lost in 5. Can everybody, what is the problem in this country? And Wemby's not, I guess, in this world, because Wemby's not an American. What is the problem with everybody where people can't just look in the mirror and be honest? You can't just say we lost. They were better. Like the Thunder did. Say what you want. Say what you want about SGA and his flopping or whatever, or OKC, or are they dirty? They got up there in front of the media and they gave San Antonio credit. They didn't make any excuses. Jalen Williams didn't make excuses for missing time. They didn't make excuses for J-Dub not playing, for A.J. Mitchell not playing. What's so hard about that? What's so hard about it that people can't do it? BetMGM players will receive a World's Game Tournament Winner Boost token. Add the tournament winner boost to your bet slip and activate the token. If your wager wins with the token, you'll receive extra winnings and unrestricted bonus dollars. Download the BetMGM app today, and please game responsibly. Now, I'll tell you what. The NBA, and it's so funny because the officiating was brutal again on Saturday night. And I have people say the Knicks fans were whining the whole series and you won and you're still whining. Shut up. Tell the truth. Do you think the officiating was good in this series? Do you think it was even the official? Seriously, do you think so? Like Brunson not getting fouled at the end, like when he almost went backcourt and almost lost the ball, and Bridges thankfully gets the ball. Like he doesn't get fouled there. Like it was like a Ty Domi hip check. No call? Unbelievable. Adam Silver in the NBA should send the Knicks a fruit basket this morning for winning Game 5. Because it saved the NBA from having to suspend dirty player Victor Wembanyama, comma, dirty player for Game 6 tomorrow night. They would have suspended him. You can't not have suspended him for what he did. Sticking his foot out while Jalen Brunson and it's unbelievable the way that people, some of you can torture yourselves like Cirque du Soleil to try and, well, he's just really tall and his limbs are unnaturally long. Can you just tell the truth? I've defended Wemby throughout this entire postseason. I have not once come on the show and said he's a dirty player. Not once. I defended him. I said he's a kid. He's 22 years old. He deserves the opportunity, the benefit of the doubt. Does he still get it? Or does he just get to be the one player in the history of this league that gets to commit flagrant foul after flagrant foul and none of them get called? None of you think this is ridiculous? When the broadcast comes back from break and Tim Legler goes, that's 100% a flagrant foul. And if they call it, he's suspended for Game 6. They don't even call it a regular foul. It's unbelievable, right? Victor Wembanyama doesn't shake hands after the game. I don't care. Legit, my team won the title. I don't care what he does. I don't care what any of them did. Doesn't matter at all. But let's tell the truth about Wemby now, right? Victor Wembanyama is, and I don't care. And it doesn't mean he's a bad person outside of the court. I have no idea. Seems like a pretty decent guy. On the court, and as far as basketball is concerned, he is a heel. He's shown it. He is not a babyface. He has a baby face because he's 22 years old, but in pro wrestling parlance, he's a heel. He's the bad guy. And again, bad guy doesn't mean he's breaking the law or he's a terrible person outside of basketball, but as far as basketball is concerned, this dude's a heel. My advice to him would be embrace it. I don't need Victor Wembanyama to be a tweener. I don't need Victor Wembanyama to straddle the line between good guy and bad guy and put this face out to and lecture all of us, okay? Like, he needs to beat the allegations now that he's and I defended him. He's a dirty player. Can't give credit after he loses. Wants to lecture everybody. Now, he's 22. Time for him to turn it around in a huge way, obviously. Facts are facts. He's a heel. And if I were him, I'd lean into it. Because you know what? Whether I like it or not as a Knicks fan, the revenge tour that he's probably going to be on next year, I don't know if the rest of the league is ready for it. Hour 1 done, hour 2 for you coming up on the other side. How about this? We'll start hour number 2. Former Villanova coach, Brunson, Bridges, Hart, etc. The great Jay Wright on You Better You Bet.
in the business are on You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos.
Hey, this is Joe Buck, and you have done it. You have found it. You are listening to You Better You Bet. Great decision.
This is Bob Costas, not Kostos, but you are listening to Nick Kostos on You Better You Bet.
Hi, this is Kevin Harlan of CBS, Westwood One, and TNT, and I'm listening as you do every day to You Better You Bet with the most handsome single man in the radio business. A man who, if I was not married for 38 years, I might consider myself the kind of guy that can electrify a listening audience and a crowd of bystanders watching him do what he does so well each and every day. Continue to listen right here on You Better You Bet.
This is You Better You Bet on Westwood One Sports. Brought to you by BetMGM.
The magnificent Sports Monday edition of You Better You Bet rolls on. Nick Kostos, our crew, which today includes our friend Max Sheedy back on the show. Love Max. And you here on Westwood One Sports. The first hour of the show is one I'll always remember. My Knicks, world champions, and how it makes me feel as a sports fan. Elation, jubilation, delirium, ecstasy, and just, these are moments in life. Forget about sports. In life, you chase moments like this for the rest of your life. You chase feelings like this for the rest of your life. The way I felt, this could be game 1, the comeback against Cleveland. I was there at the Garden. Game 4, watching the comeback and then them completing it with the OG tip-in and the Karl Anthony Towns tip of the inbound pass that I think Castle would have dunked or laid in. And the way I felt in the waning moments of Game 5 on Saturday night. And as the Knicks clawed back and take them, you feel like they're going to win. The Mitchell Robinson offensive rebound, the missed free throws, Bridges makes one to make it 3, OG makes one to make it a 2-possession game. Heart beating out of my chest. Taking my shirt on, taking it off, going from the floor to the couch to a chair, doing anything I can, and I know I have no cosmic impact over anything, but as sports fans, we are all, maybe not superstitious, but at least a little stitious, right? All of us. Heart pounding out of my chest, hands on my head, talking to myself, talking to the television. You chase feelings like this forever. It's like a great night out with your friends when you're younger and you think about it and you realize not every night can be like that night. Not every season can end in this way, and sometimes it's 53 years in between. But when you get it, it's magic. It's magic. And as I said, I am a blessed and lucky sports fan, and I know it. I know it. All the championships that I've seen my teams win. I say this with no patronizing intended at all. I don't say this hovering from Mount Pius in an attempt to be holier than thou and lecture you if your team has not won a champ. That's not the intent. So understand that, if you think I'm saying this from above, understand that I'm walking down from wherever you think I am, and I'm standing shoulder to shoulder with you, and I'm looking you in the eye. You're probably taller than me, so I'm looking up at you. To everyone out there, you're a Phoenix Suns fan. You're a Minnesota sports fan. You're a Browns fan, a Jets fan. Whatever team you've watched that has led you on a tortured existence as a sports fan, I mean this sincerely. I hope you get yours. I hope you get it. I hope everybody gets to experience the things that I've experienced in my life as a sports fan and what I experienced on Saturday night. It is so unbelievably special. It's so unbelievably sick and awesome to say that your favorite team are the champions of the world. the New York Knicks, champions of the world. I legitimately thought it would never happen. And now you're kind of in a spot as a sports fan, me at least, where do we go from here now as sports fans? What a spot to be in. I understand. I understand it's a champagne problem. Where do you go from here now? Like, what matters now? Does this Yankee season matter? I mean, like, yes, but in the grand scheme of things, like, no. The Knicks won. Who cares now? I don't. I'm being honest. The Giants could go 0-17 this year. The Rangers could go 0-82. The Knicks could go 0-82 next year. They won. Who cares? Interesting spot to be in as a sports fan. And I think you can empathize with that feeling even if you're not in my shoes. I think you can at least empathize with that feeling a little bit. Jalen Brunson, greatest Knick of my lifetime, and New York's Michael Jordan. We don't have to mince words. We don't have to contort ourselves to tell a different narrative. He was Michael Jordan on Saturday night. 45 points on the road in an NBA Finals closeout game. This is the stuff that legends are made of. Rarefied air for Jalen Brunson. Sitting in the pantheon of all-time great postseason performers. What's the argument against it? What in the world could you possibly say to the contrary after that performance? Even in the postgame, he's basically asked, hey, what do you say to the haters? And he gives that brilliant answer. Because Jalen Brunson has always had it. His time as a Knick, his time as a Dallas Maverick, decorated high school player, and of course, multiple-time national champion at Villanova. And joining us right now to talk about, and I have to imagine, a lot of people feel really good about the Knicks winning a championship. This is kind of a really interesting experience, I'm sure, for our guests, and I'm very happy and grateful that Hall of Fame basketball coach, two-time national champion at Nova, and the real ones remember, especially me who went to high school on Long Island, that once upon a time dominating at Hofstra out on Long Island as well. The legendary Jay Wright here with me on You Better You Bet. Coach, I sincerely appreciate the time on a Monday morning. Thank you very much.
Hey, you're a loyal New York fan, man. You deserve this, buddy. You Long Islanders deserve this.
Thank you very much. And I think that this is such an interesting spot for you to be in. And I don't want to put myself in your shoes because I'm not in them, obviously, or in your head because I'm not. But I would imagine kind of that you're probably watching this like a proud father in a sense. You coached a lot of these guys to great success in college. They all won, not all of them, but a bunch of them just won an NBA championship together. What did it feel like watching on Saturday night, Coach?
You're exactly right. It's like a proud father, and all three of them have great parents, man. That's really part of their strength. But other than their real parents, that's exactly how you watch them, because you recruited them since they were 15, 16 years old. You knew them as young kids. You watched them grow up as young adults in college. Then you watch them go on to their NBA careers, get married, have children, and take on the enormity of this great Knicks tradition in New York City, and to be able to handle all of that and go through this run in the NBA playoffs that's been incredible. You're truly watching them as a proud parent, and just it's heartwarming to see them enjoy this success.
I don't ask this question, Coach, to minimize any of the other moments, because I'm sure there are many for you throughout this run that really touched you, right? But if you had to pick one moment from this Knicks playoff run where it really sticks with you now, where you have that amazing feeling of pride watching one of your former players here, what is it and why?
I'll tell you what, one thing I'll never forget is just I only went to one game. I went to game 4.
So you pretty good one. you picked the best one.
Hey, I'm a Philly guy. I mean, I jumped on the Knicks bandwagon. Now, I was at Hofstra, as you mentioned, for 7 years during the Pat Riley run, and was a great Knicks fan. But still, I'm from Philly. But to be in New York at the Garden when they came back and won that game, and be standing there with 18,500 people singing Frank Sinatra's New York, New York, Jay-Z's Empire State of Mind, and be down on the court, be able to hug Jalen and Josh and Mikhail and, Patrick Ewing's down there, Rick Brunson, Tim Thomas, Spike Lee. It just for a Philadelphia guy, man, that was an incredible New York moment. And the funny thing was, I was talking to Rick Brunson and Tim Thomas on the court. Josh came up behind me. He goes, "I'm sorry, coach. I blew that layup and I didn't box out. Sorry about that." I'm like, "Dude, I'm not here to yell at you, man. I'm proud of you because you got a great stop. He made a great defensive play after missing that layup to get a great stop."
I love that you worked Villanova's own Tim Thomas into that just now. Tim Thomas, obviously, former Nick, and obviously played collegiately at Villanova. So Jalen Brunson was asked post-game when he had the Finals MVP trophy next to him. I'm paraphrasing the question, but it was basically, what do you say now to the haters? Brunson said, "I haven't responded to them yet. I'm certainly not going to respond to them now." Coach, if I asked you to be honest and asked you to respond to all the Jalen Brunson haters, what would you say to them today?
You know what? Honestly, it's one of the things we all talked about, and I know Jalen's parents raised him the same way. He never held any grudge against any of those people, and you can see it. Some of those people are on air TV personalities, and he still is respectful of them and enjoys a friendship with them. But what he does, which is really a high level of emotional intelligence, is he uses that to his advantage, and he knows that inspires him, and he knows it actually helps him against his opponent. Like he understands that one of his advantages is that his opponents somehow in a small way underestimate him. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen anymore. He's going to have a new challenge to take on, but he really does not hold a grudge. Like they say he's too small, he's too slow, he's not athletic enough. It's not wrong, but what's wrong is that isn't going to prevent him from being a champion. It's actually going to be something he uses to his advantage against his opponents.
I'd like to ask you, Coach, like an X's and O's basketball question, because I'm always honest with the audience. I don't consume basketball in that way when I watch it, but watching the final couple games of the series and then having watched the Western Conference final against Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in Oklahoma City, what really struck me, and especially in the closeout game, Game 5 on Saturday night in San Antonio, was the way Jalen seemingly solved this awesome San Antonio defense. And the clip that's going to live forever, down 83-77, takes Wemby to the basket and somehow gets it over his pterodactyl wingspan. It's unbelievable. So I watch it and I see it, and I default to the guy's he was Michael Jordan on Saturday night. You obviously know the X's and O's inside out. How, in a basketball sense, was Jalen Brunson able to solve this awesome San Antonio Spurs defense the way that he did?
You're absolutely right about that play, that specific play. And that's something that Jalen was trying to solve throughout that series. Like in the first game, you could see, especially early in the game, Wemby blocked one of Josh Hart's early drives to the basket. Jalen drove in the first game, got caught in the lane, went to make a pass, and it was the right play, but Wemby got a fingertip on it and deflected it. It became a turnover. And Jalen realized early, I can't attack him the way I've attacked any other player because of the length that he can take up on my drives and on my passing opportunities. So on that play, what he figured out is to use his length against him by getting him in the lane, hesitating in his speed, where Wemby brought his feet together to go up to block his shot. And as he hesitated, Jalen bumped him with his shoulder, knocked him off balance so Jalen could get to the rim and finish, and Wemby couldn't jump. It was you picked the perfect play. That was the play that accentuated and that Jalen had figured out how to attack Wemby. And watching that play, I thought to myself, if they don't win this game, in the next game, he's got it. He's figured it out. And it was that ability to get in the lane, change speed. And as he changed speed and Wemby went to go to a position with his feet to block it, to bump him, knock him off balance, and then be able to finish at the rim.
It's unbelievable. What a brilliant basketball play. And candidly, if the Knicks had not won, I think Wemby would have been suspended for Game 6, but that's a story for another time. Coach Jay Wright, couple more minutes here. You better, you bet on Westwood One Sports. Appreciate it. Know you have a lot going on. Very generous with your time. Thank you. I know the feeling that I'm about to express is, I'm sure, felt exponentially more by you. I can't help but feel terrible for Dante DiVincenzo, who's one of your former players, right, at Villanova, who was on this Knicks team. And look, like, as a Knicks, like, you can't criticize the trade because Karl Anthony Towns helps them win a championship. Knicks fans, including me, Coach, I know, you know this, right, loved Dante. Like, he was a great Knick. He blows out as a kid. It's brutal, and he watches his team win the championship. So I know this is way worse for you than it is for a Knicks fan. You coached him. You're way closer to him than we are. Just, have you talked to Dante? How do you feel for Dante in this moment with the Knicks having won and him on Minnesota?
No, you're exactly right. And Dante was the beginning of Leon Rose's brilliance to not just bring in Villanova guys, but bring in guys that fit as a team and that played for each other and didn't care about individual accolades. OG is perfect that way. He is an amazing teammate. And it's why Leon Rose went out and got Karl Anthony Towns. But it's why Leon got Dante DiVincenzo before that. And Alex Rodriguez is a friend of mine. When Dante was leaving, when he was a free agent with Golden State, Alex Rodriguez tried to get him at that time with Minnesota. He wanted him that year. But Dante came to the Knicks to be a part of what Leon was building. And Leon knew Dante's the same kind of guy as Kat, as OG, as Mikhail. Like, he'll do anything to win. And Alex Rodriguez knew that. So when they made the deal for Karl Anthony Towns, they weren't going to make that deal unless they got Dante. And it was brutal, I know, on Leon Rose. It was brutal on Josh and Jalen. It killed them. And I know all of us, Jalen, Josh, Mikhail included, all of us feel for him. Now, the good thing is he does have a ring. He's got a ring from Milwaukee. So we do love him like a brother, and we all feel for him. And, I texted him immediately after the game that you set the foundation, as Tibbs did too, for what this team is today.
The Tom Thibodeau factor is obviously one that really matters here, and I love that you sent that text to Dante, and not just a ring with Milwaukee, but also, most outstanding player of the Final Four in 2018. Not so bad for Dante. My final question, Coach. This has nothing to do with the Knicks, but I've just always wanted to ask you this because there are a lot of cool, is the word I'll use, cool clips in the history of sports. Perhaps none cooler than when Chris Jenkins makes the shot to beat North Carolina in the championship game. And I'm being serious. This is basically the coach equivalent of when Matt Barnes throws the ball in Kobe's face and he doesn't flinch at all. You turn around, you go to shake hands, you show, how the hell did you do that? And not just like, I'm sure the urge to celebrate was coursing through you. How did you do that?
I actually thought to myself before that play, I was so proud. If you remember, we blew a 10-point lead and we gave up a 3 with 4.7 seconds
left. The Marcus
left.
Page shot is one of the great shots that no one talks about now because you guys won the game at the end.
Exactly. That would have been one of the greatest shots in college basketball history. And we gave up a 3, but I was so proud of our guys' mental mindset going into the next play. We talk about the word attitude is controlling your attitude on the next play. I was so proud of that. And I didn't know if we would make the shot, but I knew we would execute with a clear mind because we had a great attitude coming out of giving up that 3. So I really thought whether the shot goes in or not, that's in God's hands. But if we execute properly here, I'm going to use this as a teaching lesson for them for life. And as soon as that shot went in, I just thought that could be me or that could be us on the other side. And I fell for Roy Williams. And I wanted to make sure I addressed him first. I knew I'd have plenty of time to celebrate with our guys.
Just 10 seconds for this one, and we'll get you out of here, and really appreciate the time, Coach. We miss you coaching, we meaning fans. I miss watching you in the media. I'm guessing you're really enjoying your life. No plans to do anything else here. Just going to enjoy here.
Now you said it right. I enjoyed all of it. I loved every second of coach. I loved working for CBS and TNT.
We miss you.
That's nice of you, man. But I truly enjoy this. Not specifically being on radio or TV, but watching the guys that I've been a part of their lives. We have former assistants that are head coaches now. I sat at the game 4 with Billy Lang on one side of me, my wife on the other. Billy Lang was my assistant at Villanova, and now he's on the Knicks staff. Watching everybody else take what we did together and then take it to another level. What these guys are doing is taking all of the fundamentals that we employed at Villanova, and they're taking it to another level on their own. And I'm just enjoy watching them grow like that and just be a fan and kind of be out of the limelight. I'm truly enjoying it. This Knicks run was as exciting and enjoyable for me as being in it myself as a coach in 16 and 18.
Congratulations, Coach. It's awesome. And
Thanks,
you got a great tan, man. You got a great tan, Jay Wright.
That's vacation, man. That's retirement, man.
God bless you. We should all be so lucky. Hey, I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Congratulations on all of this.
Thanks. Congrats to you too. I love how I want to say this at the Garden at game 4, the Knicks fans never booed. They never groaned. They just stuck with that team. And it's kind of how they did for 53 years. And I've always admired that. I'm so happy for all of you to enjoy this.
I've groaned a lot.
Well, you stick with them, man. In that game,
absolutely.
I love it.
Love it. Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it. I've done a lot of groaning. I'll just say that. You were not. I mean, Charles Smith, Ewing's finger roll, the suspensions against Miami, a lot of groaning. Lot of groaning from Nick Kostos over the years watching the Knicks. The legendary, the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Nick, not in the arena.
Well, I mean, they're on that unbelievable run. I mean, you're excommunicated from the fan base if you're booing in Game 4 of the finals on this run that we're on. Absolutely unbelievable. Unbelievable. Thank you, Coach.
Great being with you, buddy.
Hey, it's great having you. That's sensational. I gotta tell you, what a great tan. What a great guy. How about what a unique experience. He won titles with these guys in college, and now he watches them win, and they're on the same team in the NBA. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. And I do feel for Dante DiVincenzo. Knicks fans, myself included, we loved Dante. Hit that huge shot against Philly in the playoffs his final year. Loved Dante. Has to suck for him. Seriously. And I don't say that to be like, hey, sucks for you. No, how could it not suck for him? Watched his former college. He was on the team. Watch them win the title. He's going to rehab from an Achilles. Yes, he was most outstanding player in 18 when Nova destroyed Michigan in the championship game. And yes, he got a ring with Milwaukee. I'd love to see Dante back with the Knicks at some point. I loved Dante DiVincenzo. Love that interview with Jay Wright. All right, we'll take a break. And on the other side, we have more to do on the finals. We're going to talk about De'Aaron Fox. What does the Fox say? You know what the Fox says? Play Dylan Harper. More on the Spurs, more on the NBA Finals, next on a Monday on You Better You Bet.
hope they take the same thing that we've taken from our success. I hope it leads to them being hungrier than they've ever been, and I hope it leads them to be more motivated than they've ever been, and hopefully that leads them to be more, just to continue to improve in every facet.
Now, back to You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos on Westwood One Sports.
This segment on You Better You Bet, sponsored by Progressive Commercial Insurance, protecting your business vehicles 24/7. See if you can save at progressivecommercial.com, progressivecommercial.com. The voice of San Antonio Spurs coach Mitch Johnson following the team's Game 5 loss to the New York Knicks. We will get to Mitch Johnson, De'Aaron Fox, and what's next for the San Antonio Spurs coming up in a moment. The phone number, 310-840-4910. You know, we, just as a show note, kind of made the decision. Maybe we're not going to take calls on the show. Maybe it's just going to be Nick and guests, etc. But calls coming in today, and maybe that'll be part of the show moving forward here. We'll have to confer. I'll get with Bill. We'll figure it out. But let's go to Mike in Long Island here. 310-840-4910. Mike in Long Island. Next here on You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos. Mike, what's going on? Happy Monday. Mike, going once. Going twice. See, this is what's great. We're coming back from break. I tell Bill, hey, Bill, please produce this phone call. Bill says, I got it. Oh, is Mike here? Mike, do we have you?
Hello? Yes, hello?
Hi, Mike. Yes, Mike, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hello. Originally from Long Island, Nick, a great show. I can't believe you mentioned Jay Wright. When he was coaching at Hofstra, he lived in Rockville Center, where I lived. Every kid in that town was bouncing a basketball.
I went to Chaminade, so I'm familiar with the area.
I know Chaminade. St. Agnes merged with Mike Francesa's school. It's now Kellenberg. Yeah, I got Chaminade. Really? Okay. Now, the 69 series, the last game, I was 15 years old. 1969 Mets. At the Coliseum next to Hofstra where the Jets trained, I saw 50 years ago ABA championship, Dr. J and Rick Barry and all the others. And I hope this parade goes great because, you know, off the charts, what great interview what Jay Wright did with the Jalen and all the others, Villanova. But every kid in that town, Rockville Center, bounced the basketball. And who went to my high school? I used to throw in batting practice, infield, Billy the Kid Donovan. He's going to the Hall of Fame. But you know what?
Absolutely.
You got some show, Nick. Yeah, you're a Chaminade Flyer. I know it well. All right. Listen, I'm chilling out in South Kakalaki. Did my 27 years with the Long Island Railroad. Yep. All right.
God bless you, Mike. I kind of hate that you had to. I hate the Long Island Railroad. I used to call it, for people that don't know, like not that you have to care. And thanks to Mike for the call. 310-840-4910. The Long Island Railroad is literally, as you might imagine, the railroad that runs from Long Island to Manhattan. So when I lived on Long Island, when I graduated college and I worked at Sirius XM in Midtown, I took the Long Island Railroad every day. And I used to call the Long Island Railroad the chariot to hell. And not necessarily that I really sincerely did not mean it as New York City being hell or Long Island. It's not what it meant. Just that it sucked. Like public transportation in New York sucks. Hey, at least it's not the subway where you might get killed every time you step onto it. That's a story for another time. Thanks to Mike for the call. We'll, I'm guessing over the next, and especially once we get into football season, we'll take more calls on the show. I have a love-hate, I'm being honest with everybody. Does anyone care? Bill, does anyone care about this or no? Maybe not. I have a love-hate relationship with phone calls on sports radio. Maybe we'll take more of them. 310-840-4910 if you want to chime in. 310-840-4910. Okay. San Antonio Spurs. Mitch Johnson coached a brutal series. There's no way around it. And this was before Game 5. And, you know, his soundbite after Game 4, Mitch Johnson, and I understand why he said it, and that there were good intentions behind it. But when Mitch Johnson said, and I'm paraphrasing, that he has full confidence in De'Aaron Fox after, the Game 4 mental meltdown by Fox, and that the ball would be back in Fox's hands at the end of Game 5. We all should have known right then and there to hammer Nick's money line, and please gamble responsibly. De'Aaron Fox had the ball many times towards the end of Game 5 and was atrocious. And I don't really feel the need to drag Fox through the mud because I did it last week, and I told you, like, clutch player of the year, De'Aaron Fox. What a joke. What a joke. Like, this is what I said last week is, remember when Reggie Bush had to give back the Heisman Trophy? Like, De'Aaron Fox should have to give back clutch player of the year. Like, vacate that award. Clutch player of the year. And you can say, well, he had a high ankle sprain. Or you can make excuses, maybe. But you know what? You know what? Then it's up to the coach to not put him out there. Charles Barkley on Inside, and by the way, I've said this before, what a treat. Even though it was abbreviated in terms of time and they didn't have like the hour to wax poetic, way better to have those guys on ESPN this year. Way, way better. And Barkley goes at halftime, it can't be about feelings anymore. You can't play De'Aaron Fox. Dylan Harper's got to have the ball. Everyone knew it. Everybody. You know who knew it? Dylan Harper. You know how we know that? Because Devin Vassell, after the game, said that Dylan Harper's been pissed about the way he's been yo-yoed all season. I'm paraphrasing, but that Dylan Harper's been unhappy with some of this. Would you be happy if you were Dylan Harper? Do we need Devin Vassell to say it? And I'm not criticizing him for saying it. Like, do we need it, though? Do we need, like, the expose to come out on, like, what went wrong for the Spurs in the NBA Finals? It's human nature. Dylan Harper's 20 years old. He was a dog in these finals. D-A-W-G. He got that dog in him. The moment was not too big for him. He was the second best player in the series for San Antonio. Hell, you can actually argue. You can argue it. Wemby was the best player for San Antonio. But in terms of, like, who met the moment more, it's easily Dylan Harper. Wemby didn't meet the moment in this series. He didn't play poorly. The stats are there. Blew the end of Game 2. Missed the shot. Passed it off the back. Like folded like a cheap suit in Game 4. Looked like a fat guy walking the streets of Manhattan in a 100-degree day, just breaking down at the end of that game. Like, Brunson made him look silly in Game 5. So, like, Wemby was the best player for San Antonio, but who met the moment more? Harper or Wemby? You answer that question. Dylan Harper, at age 20, evoking memories of a young Magic Johnson. Evoking memories of a young Kobe Bryant. So why in the world is Dylan Harper not handling the ball in these spots? Like, this is loyalty. Like, understand the way I'm about to use this word. In a sports sense. Suicidal loyalty. In a sports sense. Right? I'm not trying to equate real life to sports, but I'm saying this was loyalty that kind of resulted in the Spurs losing the series and helping the Knicks win. After the end of Game 4. Yeah, we're going to put the ball right back in his hands. How'd that go, Coach? Now, we keep saying, right, Wemby's 22 and Castle's 21 and Harper's 20, and it's all true. Mitch Johnson's in his first full-time season as coach. Like, he objectively did an excellent job. They went to the finals. They were up in every game. He's not a bad coach. And I don't think he should be fired, nor am I suggesting that anyone should say that, but I just want to say it, right? He needs to do better. Has to. Because if this is what he's going to be moving forward, like, I get it. Spurs beat OKC. They won on the road in Game 7. They did it. Also, J-Dub wasn't healthy. J-Dub was not healthy. Mark Daigneault has shown that he can win at the highest level. I don't think Mitch Johnson has. And I'm not saying he can't. And look, like, how big of an upset would it be if I told you right now the Spurs would not win a championship in the next 5 years? That'd be a huge upset, right? Like, they're very likely to get back. Like, it's probably going to happen. He needs to be better. And he doesn't have to be Red Auerbach. He doesn't have to be Pat Riley. He doesn't have to be Phil Jackson. He doesn't have to be Greg Popovich. He just has to be not that. Not, hey, we're going to play this guy who gives us a worse chance of winning for whatever the reason is, when it's obvious to literally everybody else that it's not the right call. Right? Is that fair or unfair? Last note. We'll do Stanley Cup Final on the other side. BetMGM has its odds board out to win next year's NBA championship. The Thunder are the favorite at plus 250, followed by the Spurs at plus 270, then the Celtics and the Knicks each at plus 700. I'll talk a little bit next hour about Boston, and perhaps the Celtics end up with Giannis at some point in the next 8 days, and that's going to be a story we're going to be covering heavily here on the show. Like, everybody, the season's over now, and Jimmy Haslam said it was my daughter's birthday, which is how May 6th, last month, that they want to get this Giannis situation figured out by the draft. The draft is in 8 days. It's next Tuesday. Giannis is probably getting traded in the next 8 days. Maybe it's Boston. Bill Simmons of The Ringer on his podcast, the Bill Simmons podcast, said that he has heard the Celtics have made an offer for Giannis. Giannis is going to go to Miami. What does Miami have to offer? Boston's got way more to offer than Miami. Here's Jaylen Brown, potentially. Come on. Rather have that or Tyler Hero and Jaime Jaquez and the 13th pick. Stop it. So we'll see what happens. I think OKC and San Antonio are worthy favorites, obviously, to win the championship next year. Sleep on Jalen Brunson and the Knicks at your own risk. First hour and 40 minutes. That's 100 minutes of today's show spent on New York Knicks, NBA champions. On the other side, let's talk about the Carolina Hurricanes, Stanley Cup champions here on a Monday.
deserving Stanley Cup champion the Carolina Hurricanes are. One of the best teams in the regular season and a brilliant playoff performance. And they're going to clinch it appropriately with a total team effort and a shutout. The Carolina Hurricanes have won the Stanley Cup for the second time.
Now, back to You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos on Westwood One Sports.
Sean McDonough, Ray Ferraro on the call last night on ESPN and ABC. Rod Brind'Amour, the captain of the 2006 Carolina Hurricanes that beat the Edmonton Oilers to win the Stanley Cup, and the head coach of the 2026 Carolina Hurricanes that vanquished the Vegas Golden Knights last night to win another Stanley Cup. BetMGM players will receive a World's Game Tournament Winner Boost token. Add the tournament winner boost to your bet slip and activate the token. If your wager wins with the token, you'll receive extra winnings and unrestricted bonus dollars. Download the BetMGM app today, and please game responsibly. This was, for all the talk, and a lot of it's from me, right, of the Knicks as an all-time team, 16-3 in the NBA playoffs. We need to have a conversation about the 2025-26 Carolina Hurricanes. This was an all-time playoff performance. 16-3. The second best record in a postseason ever in this format. The only team that bested it, the 87-88 Edmonton Oilers, who lost 2 games en route to a Stanley Cup championship. This Hurricanes team, 16-3. And only one game, one loss, was by more than 1 goal. And it was Game 1 against Montreal in the Eastern Conference Final. The other 2 losses in this series, all by 1 goal. Rod Brind'Amour, do you want it? A crazy statistic? These names all sound made up. Like this is asking AI, create old-timey names to use here. I promise this is all, I triple-checked it. Rod Brind'Amour becomes the 4th person in NHL history to win a Stanley Cup as a player with a team and then coach that same team to a Stanley Cup victory. All 4 coincidentally, were captains of their respective teams. The other 3, in addition to Rod Brind'Amour, are, again, these sound like made-up names, they're not. Toe, as in, like your big toe, stub your toe. Toe Blake, Hap Day, not making this up, and Cooney Weiland. Toe Blake, Hap Day, Cooney Weiland, and Rod Brind'Amour. Jordan Stahl, your Conn Smythe winner. 17 years in between Stanley Cup triumphs. One as a youngster with the 2009 Penguins, with Crosby and Malkin and Fleury that beat the Red Wings. 17 years in between championships. Your Conn Smythe winner, most valuable player of the postseason. And this Carolina Hurricanes run, I did not think was going to happen. I didn't think that Rod Brind'Amour would break through as coach of the Hurricanes. Now, Rod Brind'Amour, kind of to me, was the NHL Sean McDermott, the former coach of the Bills. Go to the postseason every year and just get your brains beaten in and lose in a heartbreaking fashion. So since Rod Brind'Amour became the coach of the Hurricanes, they've made the playoffs every year. 19, swept by Boston in the conference final. Lose in the first round in 20 to the Bruins. 21, lose in 5 to Tampa in the second round. 22, lose in the second round in 7 to the Rangers. 23, swept in the conference finals. 24, lose in the second round to the Rangers. 25, get destroyed in the conference final by the Florida Panthers. It felt to me like this was a team that would get close, keep knocking on the door, and never break it down. Until they did. So much credit goes to Rod the Bod, to Rod Brind'Amour, to these players, and really to the Hurricanes organization. And, Tom London, who's like whatever is it, Dundon, whatever his name is, the owner of the team who now owns the Blazers, who everybody's criticizing, I don't know, seems pretty good to me. Didn't fire Rod Brindamore. Could have a million different times. Just won a Stanley Cup championship. Not bad. Not bad. Brandon Bussey, the rookie goaltender, who relieved, a concussed and ineffective Freddie Anderson in Game 3 for Carolina. And then comes in and wins the final 3 games of the series. First 3 postseason starts, all in the Stanley Cup final, 3-0 and a shutout in the closing game. It's not apples to apples, right? Because he only played 3 games. But given the magnitude of his brief stint as the Canes goalie, again, shutout in a closeout game on the road of the Stanley Cup final, his name will be mentioned in history alongside names like Ken Dryden, Patrick Waugh, Ron Hextall, Matt Murray, Jordan Bennington, and 2006 Conn Smythe winner, not Tennessee Titans quarterback, but Carolina Hurricanes rookie goalie at the time, Cam Ward. As great rookie goaltending postseason performers. Congratulations to Rod Brindamore and the Stanley Cup champion Carolina Hurricanes. Final hour, Power Hour, coming up next. We will start the hour talking with celebrity Knicks fan and actor, my friend, Jerry Ferrara.
Now, back to You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos and the crew. Presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
Bring it up, Kenny. Final hour. Power hour. You Better You Bet on Westwood One Sports. Nick Kostos, our incredible crew, Jerry Ferrara, and you. The Power Hour and every hour here on You Better You Bet, brought to you by BetMGM. Make it legendary by downloading the BetMGM app and visiting BetMGM.com. And on this Monday morning, the skies, orange and blue. Joining us now to break it down, my friend, fair to say, I say this with some people and it's like a joke, a celebrity fan of a team. This is this is literal. Celebrity, New York Knicks fan, the great Jerry Ferrara. Obviously, you know him from Entourage. You know him from Power. You listen to him on Throwbacks with Matt Leinart, which is a tremendous sports podcast that I encourage everybody to check out. Jerry and Matt Leinart on Throwbacks. The social clips you guys put out are awesome. Great guests. They're really funny, talking about entertainment and sports. Throwbacks with Jerry and Matt Leinart. Nice enough to join me here on a Monday morning following a New York Knicks championship. New Yorker and Knicks fan Jerry Ferrara. What's up, buddy? How we doing?
Nick, I cannot believe when I first met you, if you would have told me, it was like 4 or 5 years now, we know each other roughly. You would have said, hey, in like a couple more years, you're going to be coming on my show and we're going to be breaking down the Knicks championship closeout victory on the road. I would have said, whatever odds you want to give me on You Better You Bet, I'll take those because I don't think that's happening. I would have bet anything against it. So here we are in the Power Hour. Knicks are the champs.
So what I would really like for you to, and I did it to start the show, and you are, I think people know this about you, right? You are a legit, like lifelong diehard New York Knicks fan, a huge Knicks fan. So I started the show with kind of like my fan experience, and candidly, there's a couple like bittersweet emotions that I have. Like I've seen all my teams win, kind of like where do you go from here now as a sports fan? And I don't say that for you to agree with me or disagree with me. Just curious, as the seconds are ticking off the clock on Saturday night and the Knicks are about to win the championship, what are the feelings that Jerry Ferrara, lifelong Knicks fan, experiences in those moments?
Clock's running down. You know, I had opportunities to go to a few of the games, and some of you out there might think I'm nuts that I didn't go. But I got into such a rhythm with my 7-year-old son, who is, look, I tried not to pass on the obsessive fan gene, especially with the Knicks. I really tried hard not to. He just has it. So him and I got into such a groove of, you know, he does all, whether it was school at the time, now it's summertime, we do all our stuff, and then boom, 8:30 hits, we're on the couch in the same spot, same snacks, same everything. I just posted the video on my Instagram, dude. Like he actually, it's so funny. He had the reaction that I wanted to have. He completely bawled his eyes out. I'm looking at this kid almost like I'm looking at myself. Like, I'm like, oh my God, is that 9-year-old Jerry? Because that's what I would have did if the Knicks would have won a championship at that age. He bawled. I teared up, you know, but, you know, I've seen Giants championships, Yankee championships, and it's met with like other jubilation. For this one, watching, I have to say, dude, like first time I could really say, obviously I'm happy as a fan, but for those players, and those coaches, I just looked at them like, gosh, what a story you guys all have. What an accomplishment. Of course, as a fan, I'm over the moon and I'm going to be celebrating this for the rest of my life. But looking at Brunson and Bridges and Cat, and like, what a story you guys have. You know, this is, I know every championship team has its own story. This is one of the more unique stories I think any champion in basketball has ever had.
I mean this sincerely. I love that you got to experience that with your son. I think that's great. I kind of wish like my daughter was a little older so she could experience it with me. Like this is what it's all about. And, you know, I actually, I don't know if like but if your parent, and please understand where I'm coming from with this, if your parents are still alive, with your relation, like my father passed away.
Same.
And I was thinking about him on Saturday night. I'm thinking about my grandfather, like the people that you grew. And this is, I don't mean this to be, it's not meant to be a New York centric thing, even though Jerry and I are both New Yorkers and Knicks fans. But this is the type of thing as sports fans, Jerry, that it transcends sports and it becomes family and it becomes friends. And how could you not feel that way? And like, I'm so happy for you that you got to experience that with your son. I think that's the greatest. How could you not think of things like this in moments like these?
Nick, to the point where I'm like, does this mean, like, when people, like when the Red Sox won theirs and when the Cubs won theirs, you saw the signs like, now I could die, all this stuff, right? It's kind of amusing. I literally worried for a second. I'm like, am I going to die in my sleep now? Because like the unthinkable thing has happened. The Knicks are the chance.
Did you think, I never thought they were going to win. I thought I was going to die before they won.
To the point where even as we kind of know that, look, now in hindsight, you could look back at game 4 and be like, that was the end. Knicks won the championship after game 4. It was Knicks in 4. I know the Spurs stole one, but that game 4, that was the dagger. We couldn't believe that as Knicks fans, nor would we allow ourselves to. But as the clock is also ticking down, the free throws are happening, I still was like, this is not over, man. How they have to figure out a way to close this door with a 4-point lead and 7 seconds left. I still was in disbelief that nothing bad was going to happen, like a Tyrese Halliburton shot or an Olajuwon tipped ball on a Starks jumper. Any of those things were on the table at all times. So, I remember watching like a 17, 18 win season with like no first round draft pick. I was there for all of it. I started going courtside to these games because I was a fan and I did a commercial for the Knicks that Spike Lee directed. And I said, hey, don't even pay me. Just give me seats when I can go. And at the time it was Knicks are always a hot ticket, but dude, this is like Nate Robinson, David Lee, Channing Frye, fun young team. I was believing on those guys. Everyone always goes at me because I am an optimistic Knicks fan. But what other way can you be when things got as bad as they got? You have to be optimistic and hope for any sign of light. And the real first sign of light was, of course, Jalen Brunson, but really it was Tom Thibodeau. Give him his flowers. But then really Jalen Brunson and everyone just criticized that. I love on Twitter watching the highlight clips of everyone.
I was one of them.
The Brunson signing. It's okay. I wasn't out there saying this guy's going to lead the Knicks to the championship. I have a luxury of being patient. When you're in media and you have to react to the things in the moment and make a take, you're not always going to get it right. But I really did like the signing. Knicks hadn't had a point guard, a true point guard in ever. I mean, since Mark Jackson, since Chris Child. So, it's just a hell of a story, Nick. It's a hell of a story.
Was Spike Lee cool to work with?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We were literally doing a commercial promoting the new young Knicks. They had me up against a cardboard cutout of Nate Robinson showing that he was like an inch taller than me and this freak athlete. We were playing like at Diker Park, the park I grew up in Brooklyn, and we shot it. And I like I said, I talked myself into Langston Galloway. No bad things intended, right? I'm not even trying to hate on him.
Alexi Shved, yeah, it's unreal.
was a 3-and-D guy. I talked myself into all of it, and this is just the thing that Knicks fans never thought would happen, at least in this time period.
I mean this sincerely. Like, you are a celebrity, right? They show you on TV, people know who you are. Like, everybody knows who you are, right? What do you make of all the people out there? I don't mean this in a hating way. I guess I kind of understand. If I weren't a Knicks fan, maybe I'd feel this way. That hate the Knicks because the camera is always showing all the celebrities that are at the game and everyone wants to root against them for that reason. Like, you are one of those people. Does that make you feel some type of way that I don't want to say a lot of the country, but a good portion of the country seems to feel that way?
Look, I don't feel that way in the sense of, like, I still look at the fact that I've been able to go to courtside games as the best part of my acting career. The first thing is, some financial security for sure. Like that is number one, some financial security. And the fact
everyone else
that
will be like, I starred on a hit show, Money Girls. Jerry's like, you know what? No, I got to watch Alexi Shved and Andrea Bargnani front row.
100%. The best benefit outside of financial security of my acting career has been going to Knicks games courtside. That's not, for me, that's not debatable. So I don't ever take that stuff personal, because also I would dare anybody, you want to sit down and have a basketball conversation with me? Anytime, any place. I watch all the games. I watch Hornets games on Tuesday nights sometimes. So I never took it personally, but I could see where fans in other cities, you see Taylor Swift at a game, who, by the way, was going to games a very long time ago as well. I don't really mind the bandwagon stuff. It doesn't bug me. It sucks that in a way that, of course, you'd love a 60-year-old diehard Knicks fan who is the construction worker to be on that court. That's like the way it should work if life were fair. It's a business. They're running a business when it comes to those seats, whether you like it or not. Forget about the business and focus on the sports element of it. And that's what I've always done. But yeah, I guess, but by the way, where the Knicks fans really erase all that, look at these road games. We'll never see that ever again. I'm sorry. There is not another fan base. The Celtics fans, Lakers fans, maybe, I don't know. Do they travel? I don't remember ever seeing highlight reels of the opposing fan base in the finals. It's one thing you want to go to Philly and take a little car ride. Going to San Antonio. I don't know if we've ever seen anything like that before.
We root for the same teams. So I think I can't wait to get your opinion on this, right? Is there any feeling that you have coming out of the Knicks winning on set? So the Knicks are champions. Is there any feeling that you've had that you could describe, because I have several, that you could describe as bittersweet, even though our favorite team just won the championship? And if so, what is it and why?
Bittersweet? The only thing I worry about, Nick, and I think this is a real mentality for some fans. And, like I said, I spent a lot of time in Cleveland where my wife's from, so I know a lot of Browns fans. And it's kind of like this with the Giants for me now. Like now I'm getting to the point where it's been, 15 years since they won a Super Bowl. I'm now starting to get frustrated. I gave them such a pass for such a long time with those 2 Patriot wins. My bittersweet, this is so sweet. The thing I wonder now is, like, next year, am I going to have the same ferocity watching all these games? I mean, I will, I think, but like, look, this is maybe sacrilegious. If they get bounced in the second round next year, I'm going to be super bummed. Am I going to come on podcasts and rip the Knicks because they got No, I'm just not. I'm sorry.
Jerry, they can go 0-82 next year. Who cares? They just won the championship. Who cares?
So I guess that's my bittersweet. Like, as sweet as this is, and yeah, we could play into the defending champions part, and we will talk ourselves into defending that title. But man, this is going to last a very, 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 very long time.
Couple more minutes with my friend Jerry Ferrara here on You Better You Bet Westwood One Sports on a Monday morning, presented by BetMGM. Nick Kostos here with you. You said something earlier, and I think there's so much synergy with how you and I think about this. We're around the same age. We root for the same teams. We're from the same place, right? Where, I said in the opening of the show that sports fandom kind of feels like a young man or a young women's game to a degree. And and I'll just for context here, like when the Giants want to know, that will always be my favorite team, because the Giants are my favorite of all the teams I root for. At the time, I'm 24. I'm not married. Like, my career is like just getting started. I have no responsibilities really. And the Giants were my favorite thing. And it's like, now I'm married, I have a kid. Like, there's just life, it's just different.
Yes.
And you mentioned looking at your son and wishing watching him bawl his eyes out and thinking, like, why isn't that me? Almost. You didn't say that. I'm putting words in your mouth, but does that feeling strike you at all? Like that feeling that I just described, and that moment that you had watching your son, who's young, and the exuberance and no real responsibilities, and like, this is everything to him probably, right? You feel that way at all?
100%, Nick. I feel it. And I agree with you. It is a young person's thing. As much as I wanted to be at one of those awesome watch parties in Brooklyn or in Manhattan, or go to San Antonio, maybe I should have. I don't know. But yeah, I'm just at a different stage in my life where I enjoyed every moment with my kid. And, he said something else to me that night. He said, "Dad, I don't care where I am. I'm going to watch every Knicks game with you." right? I think he
great
meant like
is
in the
that?
future. So like I flash forwarded in my mind to like, I'm going to be like a 70-year-old man, hopefully one day. And I'm not going to have many friends. Who knows who many will be left. My career will be over, or maybe I'll have enough energy to do a couple of things here and there. I'm going to play a lot of golf, and I'm going to wait for those Knicks games to come on. I'm going to say, honey, tell my wife, hopefully she's around still. I'll be like, Jacob's coming over for the Knicks game tonight. And that is going to be all I need. That's going to be all I need to, feel that connection and that emotional. So you're right. But yeah, 15 years ago, if this run happened, Nick, oh my God, I'm in San Antonio with Timmy. I'm in Cleveland. I'm at every game. I'm a groupie. I'm rolling with the team. I'm probably spending money on private plane. I'm balling out just to follow this team around. For sure. It's a young person's game. Well said.
Why on April 1st of this year did you put a social media post up saying that Entourage was coming back? Now, to be clear, I knew immediately. I was like, well, it's April 1st. Why did you mess with people like that? It was very nice.
I want to clear the air. I cannot stand April Fool stuff. I hate it. I think it's so dumb and it's annoying. So the good people at our show, Throwbacks, with Leinert, who loves him some social media, they convinced this. You have to do it. You have to. Please do it. I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. People are going to get mad. Stop. People are going to get mad. Stop. And I just relented. They busted my chops to a degree where I said, fine, let's do it. And I did it. And of course, it definitely went pretty viral and people got mad, but in a funny way too. Look, we're always having the conversation behind closed doors. I'm always thinking about what that would look like if we did bring it back, because I think we'd have to make some changes. We'd almost have to trade for our version of Karl Anthony Towns. We'd have to like break up the roster a little bit, not get rid of any of the cast members, but add some youth. And let's just say though, that April Fool's joke definitely kicked up some dirt, and now we're having some real conversation. So maybe there is some good that came of it, Nick.
Just me and you here.
Yeah.
No audience right now. Is Entourage coming back?
Look, until stuff is signed, I'm a big believer in sign the contract. I'm going to say no, because I don't have a signed deal in front of me. But that's only a piece of paper, and that could be DocuSigned very, very quickly if need be. So for right now, I'm going to say no. There's nothing signed saying that we're coming back.
Would it be fair or unfair to say, and this may be fair or unfair, you don't have to, you could Heisman stiff arm me here like Matt Leinart to not answer the question. 51% that it comes back? 49% that it comes back?
I like what I might go a little higher, like 55%, I'd say right now, 55%. We're all a little older. What a great storyline though, too. Like the Entourage guys would have been following this. Nick Turtle would have been following this Knicks team around for sure and had some large bets on the Knicks. Drama would have probably bet on the Spurs just to be, edgy. I was like trying to think to myself, how would the Entourage cast, like in the show, how would this Knicks championship be incorporated?
This is a very stupid question because obviously, like, the answer is yes, like, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Are you aware? The answer is yes. Are you aware of the freak out that people will have in a really positive way if that happens? Like, freak out.
Do you know what's been really cool, Nick? And the reason, like, if you would have asked me like 2 years ago this, and people were asking me, I would always say, look, it's always possible, but you never know. But I probably would have been like, no, dude, first of all, we're all getting older, and like, I would say no. I would have said no. I would have put more of like 80% no. But it has had such a resurgence with people like under 25, like 25 and under. Go look on TikTok.
It's ridiculous.
Bro.
It's ridiculous. I've been getting sent multiple clips recently. The one that got sent to me by my friends recently was we were trying to figure out if we were going to go to a game. Was Ari getting you guys tickets to a Laker game? It's against the Wizards, and you go. I think LeBron's playing on Sunday night. Like, get us tickets against the Cavs. And then there's a great drama quote, which I can't say on the air, talking about a girl taking a bicycle ride, and I can't tell. the joke because it's
that
X-rated.
That line. By the way, people like quote that line to me when I'm like with my kids. I'm like, Jesus, this kid rides a bike,
come on.
You know?
Yeah, right.
I was just at my 17-year-old nephew's graduation in Staten Island. We'll talk about the school after. Well, he graduated, so I guess it doesn't really matter. He went to
I'm
St.
eating right
Joseph.
now a chicken burger from Royal Crown on Highland Boulevard.
Yeah, Royal Crown, baby.
Break. So shout out
I was
to
just
Staten
at
Island.
Staten Island at his graduation, and I'm like, all these kids are coming up to me, and they're like Entourage fans. They're 17 years old, and they thought my nephew was lying that I was his uncle, and they're asking me if the show's coming back, and it kind of hit me. It is now a time capsule for the youngs, right? Like, oh my God, this is what it was like pre-social media. And also this is what LA was like. And Entourage was like, people always got the message a little wrong. Like it was wish fulfillment. People focused on some wrong thing. It was a show about friendship and a show about like optimism, like the good life.
And the movie star stuff is a vehicle to tell that story, right?
Yes, correct. 100%. Like it's the lotto ticket. Like what would you do if like you and your buddies, if someone struck gold? How would you guys handle it? And it was an 8-year arc of how these Queens boys handled their golden goose,
Honestly, if it were me, probably smoke weed and try and sleep with Meadow Soprano. So
hey, listen,
just being
honest. It wasn't hard to
with
tap into the character of Turtle. There's a few challenges for me when I was younger. Like I wasn't an outgoing guy who would like walk up to any girl. Turtle just always thought he was Vince, or because he had Vince in his corner. Uber overconfidence guy, irrational confidence guy. Turtle was.
Dude, you're the best. I mean this sincerely, man. Like I love when people get to experience things with their kids. Thinking about like my childhood with like my dad. I love that you got that with your son. I'm excited to, God willing, have that experience with my daughter or any other kids my wife and I have. So I love that for you. Congratulations on the success. Throwbacks with Matt Leinart is tremendous. And yeah, man, Entourage came back. That'd be pretty sweet. But you're awesome regardless, man. Thank you very much, Jerry Ferrara, on the show.
You're the man. Talk to you soon. Who knows what's going to happen next year? Talk to you soon, buddy.
Who knows what's going to happen next year? New Yorker through and through, New York sports fan through and through. Jerry Ferrara joining us here on You Better You Bet. Absolutely love that. Love his perspective. Love that he gets that with his son. That is awesome. All right, take a break, and on the other side, we'll break down what we saw Friday night with the United States in the World Cup. The host of It's Just Soccer, Barstool Sports Soccer Show, Steve Cerruti, joins us here on You Better You Bet.
ball by Robinson for Pulisic on the run. Pulisic trying to cut it back. It's Bellingham. That time it's in. That time the flag is staying down. That time it's 2-0 United States.
Now, back to You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos on Westwood One Sports.
I got to be honest. I think John Strong is pretty awesome calling these games on Fox. Bill Zimmerman Bill did not love the Gio Reyna goal call that put the U.S. up 4-1 at the end of the game. I thought it was like something out of Japanese pro wrestling. He just said Reyna and carried the A for I thought it was sensational. I loved it. I thought the broadcast was great. I don't know how, if you're a soccer fan, you've been watching the United States men's national team for me, I remember 1990, but really 94 in the United States. I don't know how you don't watch that game on Friday night and think this is the best team we've ever seen, United States field. I think someone who agrees with me, and very happy to welcome him to the show, he is doing a sensational job right now for our friends at Barstool Sports. He's on the show, and he's executive producer of Ryan Russillo's show over at Barstool, and Russillo, obviously one of the top personalities in sports media, and also on It's Just Soccer, which is Barstool's new soccer podcast. I'm not just saying this because I really like him. They pumped out awesome content prior to the World Cup, after the game on Friday night, and knowing him off air a little bit, great dude. So encourage everybody to check out, if you're a soccer fan, It's Just Soccer. Our friend Steve Cerruti on Twitter at his last name at Cerruti, joining us here on the show. My friend, happy World Cup. Congratulations on the success. What's going on?
What's up, man? Thanks. It's great to be back. Good to see you. I miss your voice. Yeah, we're the OGs back in the original, what was it? The Entercom, the radio.com sports days. Bro. So, yeah, I missed those times. It was a different, 2020 weird COVID times, but it's been good. And I'm happy to see you again. And honestly, dude, congrats on the Knicks, by the way. I was at game 1 in San Antonio. And I swear to God, I was surrounded by Knicks fans just throwing drinks everywhere. We had a great time. I'm not even a Knicks fan. I had a great time. So congrats to you on that as well.
Give me 30 seconds on this, and then we'll get to soccer. You are a huge Orlando Magic fan, right?
Yes.
If the Magic had held on, if Wagner doesn't get hurt, I think they win the series. Whatever. If they keep the lead in Game 6, yep. Orlando beats Detroit. Did the Knicks beat Orlando in the Eastern Conference Final instead of Cleveland? I kind of think Orlando, if Wagner had been healthy, would have gone to the Eastern Conference Final.
I think I got a lot of crap for saying that I thought even in that first round series that I think the Magic had 4 of the 6 best players in the series as the 8 seed against the 1 seed. Think about how insane that is. And but I still think the Magic were a really flawed team. They go through these scoring droughts that were terrible. So yeah, I think they could have probably beat the Cavs. That would have been maybe that probably goes 7. I don't think there's any way in hell they beat the Knicks though. That Knicks team of destiny. And honestly, I don't know if you know, I grew up in Connecticut, so I didn't really subscribe to the New York Boston thing. And honestly, I grew up hating the Patriots. I hated sorry to say this, I hated the Giants because they were winning Super Bowls during my college years, and all my college friends were happy, and I wasn't. But I always kind of had a soft spot for the Knicks. I just like the Knicks. It's cool when the Knicks are good. So I was pumped for them. I'm pumped for you. I'm pumped for all the Knicks fans in the city and all around because I know a lot of them. And I don't think there was any team. I mean, I picked the Spurs, but stupidly, I'm that doesn't make any sense. Wemby was way too young. The coaches, there was a lot of coaching issues in that series. Fox didn't show up. I'm just happy for you guys, man, because you were clearly the better team.
I appreciate it. And we'll see if one of Mitch Johnson's assistants, Sean Sweeney, can do a great job now coaxing it out of your Orlando Magic moving forward. Look, I'm not in that world the way you are. It feels like there's a ton of optimism, though, around that hire. Sean Sweeney going to be the next head coach of the Orlando Magic. All right.
Definitely.
So Friday night, I just want, because I haven't done it on the show because there's been so much with the Knicks, right? I felt like you're a bigger soccer fan than I am, but I'm a pretty big soccer fan. Compared to the average sports fan, I would consider myself to be way above the average fan when it comes to soccer consumption. I'm watching this game in the first half, and obviously the scoreline reflected it. I'm thinking, as I'm watching this, it's not even close. This is the best they've ever looked. They looked like a good European or South American, not like a good CONCACAF team, like a good U.S. team, like a good South American or European team. Did you share that experience, same experience I had watching this team on Friday night?
Yeah, I mean, we were just joking after the game about how absurd it is that a U.S. team can bring guys like Tim Weah and Gio Reyna off the bench at the end of a game. I mean, those are guys that are surefire starters for a lot of U.S. teams in the past. And so obviously the talent was there, But just, yeah, like the ball progression, like I love the 3 at the back system, which was sort of new. Like, we hadn't really played that, like, certainly under previous managers. And Poch, honestly, hasn't really played that either. But I think because of, we have Jedi Robinson on the left and Dest, who kind of is basically like a hybrid winger, essentially, on the right. I think it fits our guys a ton. And it's more of a modern sort of attractive style. And this was like kind of the issue for so long, was there's a lot of people, myself included, who I didn't dislike Greg Berhalter or didn't think he was necessarily, I didn't think he was a bad manager for the U.S., but it's like, hey, at some point, if we have all these talented players and we want to play this certain style, you need to bring in a manager who is going to reflect that type of style, someone who has done this at, obviously with elite top players in the world. And Poch, he got off to a rough start, and I think people were like wanting to dunk on him because they just don't like guys coming from outside like the U.S. sort of circle of people that get the job. But listen, it's one game. We're also it looks great. Like, we still have a couple of games left, obviously, in the group stage. So the ironies we're probably already through, unless we get blasted twice, which probably isn't going to happen. But like, we needed a manager who could live up to the guys that we put all this faith behind and do and play at some of the biggest clubs in the world. And so to see that on display against the Paraguay team, by the way, which is not bad. It's really hard to qualify out of South America. They beat like a couple of the big boys on the way there. They had a very good defense. So to beat them 4-1 is I mean, I thought we would either win it by a couple goals or probably drop points. So, and I did bet, the US -1.5. So shout out, we cashed that one, which was nice. But
nice job.
It was good to see us go. It was good to see us like put it away at least early, because sometimes these games can be a drag.
I did not think I would ask this question, but we do have some news this morning in the world of soccer. So, yep. and I'm going to, for the casual fan, I'm going to explain why this matters in a second. So AC Milan, who's one of the best teams in Serie A, like a historical team in Italy, announced that Ruben Amorim, who's the former Manchester United manager, is going to be their next manager. Why does that matter for the United States? Because Mauricio Pochettino, the Argentine United States manager, had been heavily linked with going to AC Milan after this World Cup. Does this mean and again, like, we'll talk about this World Cup in a second, but this is news and you're really informed on this stuff. Do you think this means that Pochettino could stick around past this World Cup? Because I think American soccer fans would love that.
I don't think so. I don't. I think he saw a unique opportunity to coach the U.S. in obviously a World Cup that they're hosting. Like, how many times you can be able to do that in life? I don't think he's still kind of young too. Like, a lot of times, like, these managers that take the international jobs, it's usually when they've had a bunch of club jobs and they're kind of like, in their 50s, late 60s, whatever, even into their 70s, and they're just kind of like looking for like a less stressful job. I would be surprised if he didn't jump back into like a decent European job after that. There's like, the Premier League has tons of money. There's going to be tons of teams throwing money at him. The AC Milan job, I actually don't think is an awesome job right now. The club is a disaster. I don't know how much you followed of it, but basically they had like a 99% chance, like most of the season, projected to finish top 4, which gets them Champions League. And I think they lost like 8 of their last 10 games to miss it, including their last one against a Cagliari team that they should have beaten at home easily. And they fired everybody. Their head is like the guy that runs the club basically is Zlatan Ibrahimovic, who was at the UFC fight Sunday night. He's clearly not like super involved in the club right now. So I don't know if Poch, I actually don't think that would be a good job for Poch. I think he could do better than that, even though Milan is a bigger club. And then what does that mean for Pulisic? I think he's on like 1 year left on his contract. There's been a lot of rumors about him leaving Roma, which is my team to the back here. They've been rumored to be one of the teams interested in grabbing him. So I don't think there's any way Poch sticks around, which I think is fine. Like, we'll have our fun, in the summer of 2026, and then we can kind of move on into a different phase of whatever our development is.
And just as a fun, like, interest story, Como had the 4th Champions League spot, coached by, like, European legend Cesc Fabregas, former Spanish international. They got the final Champions League spot over AC Milan. All right, back to the American team. Flo Balogun on Friday night. He looked, and I'm using these words carefully, and if you're not a huge soccer fan, you won't understand the magnitude of what I'm about to say, these 2 words. He was world class. Like, not great for an American player. That's a performance that could have stood on any country, it felt like to me. What is Flo Balogun's upside leading the United States attack in this tournament and moving forward?
Yeah, I saw some people that were like, hey, if Lamine Yamal had scored the 2 goals he did, including the one like just upper 90, people would be losing their minds right now. and I think like people were obviously in the US losing their minds, but maybe like abroad, not necessarily as much as like we are. This dude, there was a reason that like we were so excited the entire process and like tracking his plane to see who he was during the decision process. This is a guy who played for the US. when he as a youth, but like, has English ties and certainly could have played. Now, would he have played for England? They're pretty deep at the striker position, so like it would be probably a struggle for him to make their roster, but like you never know, he's got the talent. So for him to choose the US was a big coup for us, and I don't think it's ridiculous to say like he's the most talented striker the US has ever had. And you could honestly say he, like, Pulisic kind of had an up and down season and he is Captain America, but like when they're both right, I'd hear an argument that Balogun's the most talented attacker that we have on the team. Plays for Monaco, has played in Champions League games. He's kind of been up and down because they've been a little bit of a mess. He's gone through some injury issues, but he is it's also the thing too, guys, like you've heard like when people say, hey, if our best athletes just played soccer, like we would dominate. He is a freak athlete too. Like he's insane. He might not be like the tallest guy necessarily, like 6'5", 6'6", but like he's a monster out there, and he could have very easily had a hat trick, and he's going to be the difference. I said this, like if he's scoring goals for this team, I think like a quarterfinal is totally within reason. Like Pulisic's obviously very important, but like if we're getting consistent goals from our number 9, because I think we're going to need to score goals because I'm still a little bit worried about our defense. If we're getting consistent goals from Balogun and Pepe, specifically Balogun, there's no reason why we can't make things interesting in the knockouts.
Couple more minutes here with our friend Steve Cerruti from Barstool Sports. It's Just Soccer and the Russillo Show. So I'm going to ask, what I normally do with guests, pencil, not pen. I'm going to ask you for a pen prediction here. So you said quarterfinal run, not out of the realm. United States almost certainly are through to the next round because 8 out of 12 third place teams make it. They already have 3 points. It's hard to imagine the United States not making it to the next round. You mentioned quarterfinal. What is, in your estimation, the absolute ceiling for this team through one game?
Well, the problem with the bracket now is if they do finish top of the group, they'd likely play a third place team in the round of 32, which is can be a wild card, but like they'd probably be favored in most of those games. Then if things go chalk, they'd probably play Belgium, which would be an interesting rematch from the 2014.
Which was the Tim Howard 58 saves. Yeah, who missed it at the end? Wondolowski missed the shot for.
Yep, I know. Tough scene. You hate to see that.
I hated it. Was
right. I remember watching that at the ESPN. We were sitting just a big screen, a bunch of dudes, and the disappointment on everyone's faces was just it was a tough one there. But yeah, that was one of the best goalkeeping performances of all time from Tim Howard. But that would be like a cool little rematch. And if we played Belgium, certainly they've had their golden generation for a while. Everyone knows De Bruyne, Lukaku. They got new guys coming up like Doku, who I think is going to be a really good player, plays for Manchester City. Would they be favored in that game? No, but I think there's no reason to think that we couldn't compete and win
beat Belgium.
That match.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's no way they couldn't. The problem then goes if things go chalk, then they play Spain in the quarterfinal, and Spain is a juggernaut. Spain can roll out just about any different lineup they want. They are playing the sport at almost a different level than everybody else right now. And listen, crazier things have happened. Like we've beaten Spain when they were on, I think, a 35 game unbeaten run years and years ago in the Confederations Cup before. I think that was the 2010 World Cup, I want to say. So crazier things have happened, but man, to play, if they got to the quarterfinals and put on a good show against Spain, to me, that's still a huge win.
Absolutely. And you're talking to someone who ordered the 2004 Euro final, Greece and Portugal, on pay-per-view to watch my Greeks beat Portugal and Cristiano Ronaldo in Portugal in that final and beat Zidane in France earlier in that tournament. So you're absolutely right. Anything can happen. Okay. Anything else that you find interesting about the United States? And then I have a general World Cup question to ask you here. Anything else that's interesting heading into the next game? By the way, Australia handled Turkey over the weekend.
Not a joke.
And that's the next matchup for USA.
Yeah, so my what I said before this group stage was is it likely? No, but any of these 4 teams could really finish in any of the four places. I wouldn't bet on the US finishing last before this thing happened, but Australia is not a joke. They made the knockouts in the last World Cup and gave Argentina everything they could handle in the round of 16. Turkey, they have 2 of the best players probably in the group in Gur, who plays for Real Madrid, and Yildiz, who plays for Juventus. They just look kind of poor against Australia, and Australia is one of those teams that just always plays better than their competition too. So that's people thinking that we're just going to go in there and roll Friday. I would caution you, it's not going to be 4-1 every single match, and our defense is I'm still a little bit nervous about our defense. And again, as I said, Paraguay, not a bad team. This group, any of these teams could kind of beat any of these teams. So I still think there's a lot to play for. But certainly, as you said, because of the way the tournament is with the 48 teams and third place teams going through, if they get one more point, they're basically guaranteed to be through. So my one thing would be, the defense didn't really get tested at all. I mean, we let up like one leaky kind of like annoying goal. And I do think that's a thing that I'm going to worry about in the future. But again, if our attack is playing the way that they obviously did against Paraguay, we could put up 2, 3, even 4 goals a game. Who knows?
We're running short on time, only a couple minutes left here. Give this to me in 30 seconds. This could be one thing from this past weekend or like the next couple days that you're either really looking forward to or a take that happened this weekend, non-United States, that you'd like to share with us here in 30 seconds.
Yeah, I would say 2 things. One, Ivory Coast, they huge win yesterday against Ecuador. Ecuador was like kind of.
I bet them yesterday, not to pat myself on the back, but I did have Ivory Coast yesterday.
Great, yeah. Everyone who played the 2010 FIFA game, World Cup game, knows like they are. It's just great to have them back in the mix, and they got some dudes, man. I mean, Ahmad obviously scored. He plays for Manchester United. Diamante, who's the 19-year-old kid from Leipzig, who is going to go for a ton of money to probably a Premier League club. They have some dudes. They are exciting, and Ecuador was one of the most like defensively solid teams in the tournament. They now are kind of in a pickle because they kind of, they probably couldn't have lost that game. But Ivory Coast is one thing. And the other one I would say is I like Brazil before the tournament. And I think people are even more down on them after the Morocco draw. But Morocco, again, a really, really good team. And
they went to the semis in the World Cup in 22. They're awesome.
Totally. They've got a bunch of world-class players, obviously Hakimi. I'm still not selling on Brazil. Maybe this is just my Italian heritage, like my bias kicking in, but like when you hire Carlo Ancelotti, like he is like the Phil Jackson of soccer. Like he's like the Zen master, and I think that's kind of what Brazil need. Now, am I worried about kind of the attack and obviously the aging midfield? Yes, but I think their defense is going to be really good, and I still like Brazil in this tournament.
The 5 Champions League titles for Ancelotti. My final was 1998 rematch, France over Brazil. France wins again, but I have Brazil in the final because of Ancelotti. You are a big NBA guy. Would you like to attempt to answer today's trivia question of the day, courtesy of our executive producer, Bill Zimmerman? All right, we have about a minute here. Bill, pop on here. Let's see if Cerruti and I can answer the question.
All right, Nick, your New York Knicks close out the San Antonio Spurs over the weekend to win the championship. In the span since the Knicks last won a title in 73, 5 players have scored 40 or more points in an NBA Finals closeout game. Can you name all 5?
Well, Giannis is one, right? Did it a couple years ago against
2021. Yep.
Jordan
in 1998, 45. Yep.
Would you like to fathom a couple guesses here, Mr. Cerruti?
I don't think LeBron ever did it. Who else are we missing? Did Shaq ever do it?
Shaq did it in 2000, 41 points.
Okay. All right, so we need to get two more during the break here. 2 more during the break. And unfortunately, the commercial break is coming up fast. Cerruti, you're the best. It's Just Soccer, Barstool Sports Soccer Podcast, executive producer, and does a great job on the show as well with Ryan Russillo. Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you very much.
Anytime, man. Thanks, dude.
Steve Cerruti joining us here on the show. We'll wrap up things next on this Monday with bets for tonight for the World Cup, bets for today in the World Cup, and the trivia question here on a Monday.
to You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos on Westwood One Sports.
All right, use today's No Sweat Goal Scorer token on a qualifying anytime first or last goal scorer wager during the World's game and get bonus bets if you don't win. Give sweating your bets the boot with BetMGM. Download the BetMGM app and please gamble responsibly. All right, we have answered the trivia question, which was the 5 players with a 40-point game and a closeout of an NBA Finals. Jalen Brunson's obviously one of the answers, along with Michael Jordan, along with Shaquille O'Neal, along with Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Cerruti, not me, was the one that I don't think I would have gotten Shaq. So credit to Cerruti. And the 5th, which we got during the break, and we've been talking about this game, was Game 6 in 1980. Kareem doesn't play, and Magic plays center and drops 42 on the Philadelphia 76ers en route to Finals MVP. Bill, that is the correct answer?
You got all 5. Yeah, Shaq was the one I thought would trip people up, so great job by Cerruti on that one.
Yeah, enjoyed having Cerruti, great guy, on the show. Thanks to him, thanks to Jerry Ferrara, and thanks to Hall of Fame basketball coach Jay Wright. Thanks to Bill, thanks to Tyler, thanks to Kenny, and thanks to our friend Mac Sheedy in for downtown Mike Brown on the show today. All right, let's give some bets out to close the show. Kenny, please drop the dope-ass beat. I was telling Cerruti during the break, I don't love the card today, unfortunately, during the World Cup, for the World Cup. Spain is going to kill Cape Verde. That game starts in 6 minutes. It could be like 15-0. The total of the game's 3.5. You know what? For bleeps and giggles, I'll place a small bet on the over just for something to cheer for. Otherwise, I will moneyline parlay Belgium against Egypt and Mo Salah. Belgium to win with Uruguay to beat Saudi Arabia. Even though the Saudis did beat Argentina in the World Cup in 2022, my mom was born in Uruguay, so there you go. Belgium and Uruguay both to win. 2-team parlay at BetMGM pays plus 124. That will be my soccer bet for today. No NBA, no hockey anymore. It's a little sad, right? It's a little sad. I will be off tomorrow, spending some time with my family. The great Chris Mack will be in on You Better You Bet. I'll be back on Wednesday, and we'll do on Wednesday a ton of content on the NBA offseason, the NBA draft. Is Giannis going to get traded to the Celtics? That'll all be coming up on Wednesday's edition of the show. So don't miss it. Chris Mack has you covered tomorrow here on You Better You Bet on a terrific Sports Tuesday. Until then, I'm Nick Kostos wishing you, dear listener and dear viewer, minimal sweats, winning bets, the absolute very best of luck. Our friends Bleck and Abdallah are coming up next. In closing, go New York, go New York, go.